So I gotta ask you guys real quick, how was your Easter? Let me know in the comment section below, because Tucker Carlson's Easter apparently was not so great, and it was mostly because of his favorite president.
Who do you think you are? You're tweeting out the F word on Easter morning?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, the fuck word. Adults can say the fuck word. Who cares?
You'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah.
So, yeah, that's right before Trump decided to say that he was going to genocide all of Iran. Yeah, that's the fuck word. The fuck word's the one you're concerned about, not him saying that he was going to kill a bunch of people. Nah, not that one. Nope. You're worried about the fuck word. That's okay.
So obviously you're mocking the religion of Iran. Okay. If you seek a religious war, that's a good idea. But by the way, no decent person mocks other people's religions. You may
absolutely decent people mock religions. If I think a religion is causing some type of abject harm, then I am more than willing to mock their religion. 110%. If somebody wants to defend Jehovah's Witnesses and I want to sit there and go, hey, you know, it's really weird how many people and how many like rapists are actually defended within the Jehovah's Witness group, yeah, I think that's a perfectly valid thing to criticize. When we talk about Mormonism and people think they're going to get their planet when they die, that's kind of weird. Maybe don't believe the guy who got his entire religion by telling people that he could read special gold plates with rocks in a hat that nobody else was allowed to look at. I'm sorry, there are aspects of that that I think are really funny and are definitely worth making fun of. Also, if somebody says that because of their religion, it's okay to marry a 9-year-old, I'm gonna make fun of that too. By the way, that is something that the Prophet Muhammad did, so, you know, there's that. So Trump should actually like them a lot.
have a problem with the theology. Presumably you do if it's not your religion, and you can explain what that is. But to mock other people's faith is to mock the idea of faith itself, and we should never mock that.
Yes, you should, actually. I think it is perfectly reasonable to mock the idea that somebody should not seek evidence for a question when they are accepting an answer. I think that that is something that is perfectly valid to make fun of. Now, there are valid reasons to believe in one religion or another, and I don't think that it's bad to have a religion. But if somebody wants to, on the face of it, argue that... Okay, you know what? Here, I'm not even going to try to fabricate something. I'm going to give you an argument that happened between me and one of my friends. So I have a friend who's a Christian, and they believe that we can't tell the age of the Earth. And the reason they believe that was because, in their words, God could make the Earth look however old he wanted. So fossils don't prove the age of the Earth. Radiometric dating can't prove the age of the Earth. None of it can prove the age of the Earth because God could have made it look like anything. That's the level of faith that I am willing to make fun of. Because when you hold that position, there are so many aspects of reality you can just throw by the wayside as unimportant. But, you know, the weirdest thing in all of this, to me, is that I find myself having to say things that make it seem like I'm agreeing with Trump, because I don't think that there are any ideas that should be above scrutiny, and if an idea is bad, I think we should be willing to make fun of it. So I guess that means I agree with the guy who wanted to do genocide to Iran now? Like, I don't like that. Every part about that makes me feel ungood.
Because at its core is the acknowledgement that we are not in charge of the universe. We did not build it. We won't be here at the end of it. We can destroy life. We cannot create it because we are not God. The message of all faith at the biggest picture level is the message in our Bible, which is you are not God. And only if you think you are do you talk this way. But it's not just mockery of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
And no president should mock Islam. That's not your...
What? No. Okay, so it depends. Is somebody using Islam as a cudgel to say that women should not have the right to vote? and make it so that they have to wear certain clothes that they don't want to wear? I'm sorry, but at that point, I think it's perfectly okay to criticize them, even if you are an elected official. Now, there is a fine line there where you have to be willing to recognize that there is a non-zero amount of your constituents that you are representing that might be Muslim. So you need to be very careful when you're doing that. But I think the idea on its surface that you can't do that, the idea that like religion is above criticism, is above scrutiny, is above candor of any kind, I think that that idea is caustic. It's dogmatic. I think it's okay when you see a problem with a religion to not only criticize it, but to also make fun of it. Because like with any idea that can be debunked or is problematic, we can disarm it by making fun of it.
Job. This is not a theocracy. We don't go to war with other theocracies to find out which theocracy is more effective. We are not a theocracy.
You know, it's funny that he says we're not a theocracy. I agree we're not a theocracy, but Tucker, you know that there's a non-zero amount, in fact, actually a pretty high amount, I would argue over 60% of people in the MAGA movement specifically that watched your show a ton and found themselves being Christian nationalists in part because of your words and your behavior. So I'm sorry, but this feels like trying to have your cake and eat it too. Lenari says, when did he start sounding reasonable? Remember, this is the same guy that tried to normalize Nick Fuentes to a bunch of people. Instead of doing what Piers Morgan tried to do, which was trying to humiliate him and show that his ideas are laughable, Tucker tried to find the man behind the Nazi and show that person to everybody. Lenari says this is really weird. It is really weird. Again, I do not think that these ideas should be above scrutiny. I don't. Just like if somebody wants to make fun of atheism, it's not a religion of mine. I don't hold it in any regard that way. You could also argue it's just not a fucking religion. But, like, if you want to make fun of it, sure, whatever. It's fine. It should be more fine if you are a Christian or if you are a Muslim, because, honestly, if you are in a denomination with an all-powerful God, then at the very least, your God shouldn't be so thin-skinned that he can't take it. But again, he's specifically talking about Donald Trump making fun of Islam to a noted theocracy with an authoritative regime. So I'm in the position where, like, the part that Tucker said about this is how you get the theocracy versus theocracy fight, this is how you start a bad war. Okay, cool. I agree with you there. That's perfectly reasonable. Everything else is not a good reason to have this stance.
And God willing, we never will be, because theocracies corrupt the religion. No, this is a mockery not just of Islam, it's a mockery of Christianity. To send out a tweet with the F word on Easter morning promising the murder of civilians and then saying praise be to Allah without explaining any of it, you are mocking me and every other Christian because we're Christians. We can't support that. That is evil. That is
It's really funny, Tucker, because you've spent the last 10 years vehemently supporting Donald Trump. From 2015 until about the time you got taken out of Fox News. And even some time after that, you've definitely been on the defense for Team Trump for a very long time. And I do not believe for a second that there's actual integrity behind this particular shift. I think that's the case for a lot of people right now in the Republican Party, is that there's a lot of them that are currently... Anyway, Lenari says that he is trying to win... Is he trying to win people back? Does he think this is the bridge too far for his fans? Man, where the divide is on Donald Trump when it comes to Republicans in general confuses me. Because, like, for a lot of them, the line is, hey, I paid too much for gas. It directly affected me and inconvenienced me by $10. Now I'm angry. For some, it's he called for genocide and wanted to say war crimes. Yeah, ignore everything else he did in the United States that fucked us up. But yeah, I'm glad there at least was a line for you. And for Tucker, I guess one of his do not cross lines is, you made fun of the idea of religion? Like, no. I'm sorry, but of all the things to criticize Trump for, that may not be the angle to go here, because I don't think that it should be above scrutiny or candor. I don't. And I think anybody who is a, quote, free speech absolutionist, the way that a lot of the old Fox News types are, I think they should all fucking agree with that. Again, if your god is as big as he is, if he is as cool as he should be able to handle it just fine. So this is also the guy who called Trump daddy. Chugger's the biggest snowflake. Like, the one point he makes in here that I think is perfectly valid is the idea that we should not be egging on a nation that is willing to go full death to America. I think that that is a stupid idea. Agreed. I don't want us to send people from the United States over there to kill people from Iran who woke up today and ate a breakfast of just fucking eggs and shit and then decided, I'd rather not die today, like every other day they've been alive, and then a fucking bomb hits their school. Like, I don't want to live in that reality, but we do live in that reality. But, with that said, Tucker, I'm so confused. I'm so confused. There's at least one okay point in here, but it's buried under a lot of dogma. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.